So it's been about 12 months of doing this, and then so kind of looking back at how we've changed. I mean, I've looked at old videos of myself, and with this, it's actually been really nice because I don't hold on to a lot with my short-term memory. So when I look at it, I get to look at, my full thought processes or whatever I was thinking at the time. And I can see myself really, really, in a dark place. And it wasn't that I was spinning in a dark place, it's that I was trying to get out.
I think for me, I've changed quite a bit since the start of the Unfixed documentary. Not just personally, but my perspective has changed considerably.
I want to start off by saying that this whole experience has been really beneficial for me. Like being put into this community of unfixed people and knowing other people that I can relate to a little bit better, it has definitely been helpful.
But when you start a project like this, I think it's common that we have questions. And for me, I was questioning if this is really going to make a difference. Will this change the viewpoints and the attitude of people towards chronic illnesses and invisible diseases?
I've been thinking about this, and it might piss off a few people, but the whole unfixed thing is about people who are unfixed. And I might be unfixed at the moment, but I'm definitely getting better. In the beginning, I couldn't even move. I couldn't hold this. I couldn't have this conversation.
Who I am today is not the person I was when I first started this project. When I started this project, I felt like I was the only one on the planet going through what I was going through, even though I knew I wasn't. I just really wasn't aware of anybody who was enduring what I was enduring.
So I thought I was a pretty humble person, but I think the events of the last 12 months, both personally and on a global scale, have really humbled me that much more. Whether it's my own personal shell that I live in, this body, my symptoms of transverse myelitis have been considerably worse in the last 3 months, and that's made me question what my future is going to be like and if I can get it under control.
A year ago, I thought I knew something. I thought all these years of life and practice that I might have some words that would be of value to others. And as the year ends, I don't think so anymore. I have a lot more to learn than I have to teach.
My whole external life is completely changed. It does change my outlook on my life. My fatalistic voice would say I am stuck. That voice, although not positive, does get the gist of it.
With all this training, I've gotten really fit. I'm not gonna be able to maintain this once I stop training at this level. And the other thing too is that I guess speaking of the Olympics being canceled and possibly being canceled, or the Paralympics being canceled this summer, I don't know, I'm not that young anymore, so I don't know how long I'll be able to do this. And I feel as though, I feel like there's a limited amount of time. I have to make this happen now. This is my window because I'm getting old. I'm not gonna be able to train just from being 46. Then I have a degenerative disease. My body's gonna start breaking down at some point. This is my window of opportunity, I guess. So That's one thing I've sort of thought about this year a lot. So like, this is it. This is my one opportunity to do this like cool, interesting thing. And it's like the window is closing. So yeah.
It's interesting to look back on where I was a year ago when we really didn't know how impactful this whole process was going to be, especially for me personally. I think one of the main things through participating in Unfixed that I've gained is I have a better understanding of how to advocate for myself with narcolepsy and cataplexy. Beforehand, I would let my family and friends know about narcolepsy because obviously it would impact our relationship there, but I wasn't very vocal to people I'd first meet or strangers on the internet. Didn't put myself out there very much. And obviously through this Unfixed journey, that's what I've been doing over and over. And I just think it's given me the confidence to claim narcolepsy as part of who I am now.
What's really interesting is that I feel like with chronic illness, I learn a little bit every day and every month. And when I'm going through it, it's often hard and difficult. And those growing pains are something that a lot of times I feel like I'd rather not have to experience. I find myself longing for ease a lot of the times during those hard moments. But being able to then remember that feeling, sit in that feeling, and not try to like positive affirmation my way out of those feelings now, I think is just really part of the process.
Community matters. This community matters. This community of unfixed people matters, whether you're a part of this film project or you're not. The community of people in the unfixed world, or the invisible disabilities, or the totally visible disabilities, we matter to each other, and it matters in the grand scheme of things because I believe that this community knows how to support and encourage each other. We get it. We get it. To live life in a struggle of that depth, that level of difficulty every single day while you're hiding it as best you can.
Another change that has been hard for me is my face. I love to smile at people for as long I have been me. It is instinctual, but if I think about it, it aligns with the base of my life perspective. I answer Einstein's question about the universe that it is indeed a friendly place. I smile at a friendly world, and I see a friendly world smile back at me. I especially enjoy smiling at people in my current state. When convention might say that my condition would imply that I have more to frown about than smile, my smile has more impact with the element of surprise. All that is the context for me to start noticing the loss of mobility of the right side of my face. I'm starting to have a one-sided smile. I cannot imagine not being able to make facial expressions. It's such an integral part of nonverbal communication, and I am already nonverbal. Could I just share an internal smile and still feel similar? How will I feel with the likely lack of response? I'm starting to prepare myself for that potential with questions like these.
Been thinking about it since January 1st is what I need to do with myself personally. That is, I need a best friend. And that I'm lonely a lot of the times. And I realize I'm lonely because I didn't grow up in a warm, nurturing household. My family did their best, but I wasn't full of warmth and hugs and kisses. and I really want more nurturing in my life. And I decided I'm the one that I have to give the nurturing to myself. So I want to try to become really, really phenomenal friends with myself, with my MS. I want to give it a try, see if it can make me really more optimistic, happier, so that I can have this new best friend, someone who really likes me, someone who really likes me even though I'm a jerk, even though I'm grumpy, even though I'm depressed, even though I make the wrong decisions, I'm a terrible writer, and my best friend will love me anyway.
I lost a friend to cancer last week, actually, so that's still really fresh. And that has made me question how much longer I have on this planet, and really worried about how many times I'm going to have to say goodbye.
What I've learned, though, from this group of Unfixed, the people that are in this film project, I've learned from Dylan that there's always wisdom to be gained. I've learned from Brian Nice that there's always something to laugh about. I've learned from Brian Langens that there's always something to pray about. And I've learned from Todd that there's always a goal to reach, no matter how difficult.
I think the other factor is I've definitely felt a sense of community. That's really increased my ability to talk about narcolepsy too, knowing I'm not alone. Even though I may not, everyone is in participating doesn't have narcolepsy, I am getting to hear from other people and getting to connect with people who know what living with a chronic illness is like. That's such a unique aspect that's hard for some of the people I'm close to in my life to understand. So being able to hear from others who live in some ways similarly to me, affected every day, it's just been really, for lack of better words, good for my soul.
As I heard stories of shared perspectives over the last year, it changed my life. I became more self-aware of myself, my surroundings, my behaviors, my actions, how I saw my life. And I began to think differently about it.
I've learned to listen more, like to the other people, become a good listener and learn from those other people that have been part of this project. And I've learned, we all learn from each other one way or not.
Dylan, for example, Dylan is always like so positive, and I'm amazed that he's so positive given where he's at sometimes. Like I feel, I don't know if I would be as positive in his situation. So I'm always like inspired by him, I'm like, he's so positive, and he seems like he's, doing much less well than I am physically and sort of mentally. I don't know, maybe he's feeling, but I don't know. I just don't know if I would feel. So if he can have like hope in like for his life and things like that, I don't know, that's like pretty inspiring. So
ultimately, I come back to my favorite phrase about this. What you think of me is none of my business. I have passing thoughts that it makes me look more disabled or more out of it. It doesn't matter though. It reinforces the need to love myself as I am, regardless of cultural norms or anything else.
I don't want to say I don't notice it, but it's something I don't mind. I mean, like, I never really minded it, but I was very aware of how different I was and how difficult everything was. And now it's like, I don't know. Now it feels much more a part of me. I don't know how to run. Like, I walk with a cane if I have 2 beers or whatever. Like, it's not the end of the world. And if it is to other people, then I don't need them. It's one of those things where I see myself and it's nice to have that marker and think, this is how far I've come.
Not say I'm definitely more handsome. Don't laugh. What's funny? Okay.
I've learned to laugh more and laugh at myself more. I've learned to fight harder, especially when I'm ready to give up. I've learned to lean on each other and confide in others more. And also on the flip side, be willing to be there for somebody else to confide in. And lastly, I've learned to love more.
And I feel a lot less alone, knowing you lovely people who also struggle. And I wish we could all feel better, but I know that's a high hope to reach for. But at least we can all stick together and check on each other. And that's really great.
I hope that I and others can ask ourselves what good judging other people does and start asking more questions and doing more listening and allowing for mistakes and not letting perfect be the enemy of good.
So that's why I am not going to be submitting any more of these videos. I would rather listen to you. I would rather learn from you. I would rather write than speak. I would rather talk to the trees and tell them what they already know about my broken heart, my fear of pain and suffering as the cancer proceeds. I want to learn from them how to let go. So in a year, I've changed from thinking I knew something to knowing that really, I don't.
I guess the kind of silver lining of a chronic illness is that when you lose the ability to be productive in a traditional sense, you really have to reckon with what your self-worth is and who you are and what's important to you. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have had this journey, especially as I look back and watch the other people on the Unfixed film and look at all of their journeys, and I see the similarities of the various stages of growth and of grieving and of healing. And as I look at other people's wisdom and feel and hold other people's pain, that's just so meaningful. Like, people don't have the opportunity sometimes to really sit with the breadth of our human experience. And when we get to sit and just feel with other people, it can be scary and it can be uncomfortable, but it's really, at the end of the day, when you think about it, like a beautiful part of the very relatively short amount of time that we have on this planet. So for that, I'm grateful.